Hello, you loud guitar players. We're looking at a Harley Benton Attenuator. In the past, the Harley Benton Attenuator, which was kind of almost the same as the Jet City Attenuator, all kind of probably from the same OEM company in China, did not impress me. It wasn't mind-blowing. It made it quieter, yes, but I would not want to record with it completely quietly because there was still some signal still coming out. And when you dialed in the attenuation all the way to 0 and just wanted to use the DI out, there was also no signal on the DI out. So you had to not quite fully attenuate it, which for me wasn't safe for the amp. It said in the manual it is, but I didn't trust that. So realistically, and I can show you a picture of it, my Harley Benton Attenuator is actually a towel holder in my kitchen. It's cool for that. So we have a new one. It's bigger. The 250 watt power attenuator. It can eat more watts, but that's not all that it is. It's also bigger, so a bit more expensive, but it has a lot more features. And how much more expensive is it? I do not know. I am not prepared for this video. It's $149, and at that price point, it is extremely low priced for an attenuator with those features. There are, of course, others in the market. Today, I'm actually reviewing 3 of them, but not at that price point. So let's look at the front panel, what we have. It's a little bit complicated to understand. This does not have built-in IRs and stuff like this. So it is primarily an attenuator. It has a balanced out, which should be frequency compensated, but we get to that in a bit. If this is on, nothing happens. The amp goes in, it goes to the speaker, and this thing is completely out of the loop. It's bypassed. Here, you can attenuate it. By the way, in the back, let's get that right out of the way, I have power to it. It doesn't need 9 volt or up to 24 volt power. That is purely so that all the LEDs are lighting up, as far as I can understand. They will light up because if it doesn't have power, they will light up when you play and therefore give power to it. But then they kind of light up when you play and then you don't play and then they go down again. So for the video, it makes a lot of sense to actually give it 9 volt power, which I'm doing with the Angle power tab. So you can attenuate it. Once you get to -15, this fine knob becomes active. Wait, it's bypassed. Oh, no, here we go. So now you can see, attenuator. And once I click it to -15, the fine knob becomes active. And then you have, I guess, even more detailed attenuation, which we'll get to. If you don't want a cab on it, and therefore you don't want to use it as an attenuator, but actually eat up all the power from the amp without an actual cab on it, meaning then it becomes the full load of the power of the amp. At that point, you have to switch on the load. And when you do that, the lights on the 2 volume knobs turn off, as you can see. Because then you can't control the volume anymore. That is so that you can use the line out to go to something like a Cab M or any kind of impulse response loader that takes line level signals, or actually take your line level signal into your audio interface and then in your recording software, go ahead and use an IR loader like the Wall of Sound from 2 Notes or something like this. It also has on the back a balanced XLR out, which as far as I understand has frequency compensation on it. So it should sound like a cab, which we'll find out. That cannot be controlled in its level. The line level here, that is for the line out. And you can control that. Over here, we got the input from the amp, which is coming from my Ampere switcher, so we can actually check a couple of different amps. And this is going to this cab, which is a Synergy 212. Over here, 8 bypass, or 16. So 8 and 16 ohm amps can be connected, and the switch is right in the front. Am I right now breaking my amp? No, it's fine. So select the ohmage in the front. If you want your cab to be fully the mega volume that your amp gives it, bypass it. And right now, I think the balanced out is still active, but none of the attenuation actually happens, which is great. If you have it in your system and you're saying, I don't actually want to use it, you don't have to disconnect it. You just flippy switch. So that's it. I'm miking this cab with a Sennheiser 906, which Sennheiser loaned me at NAMM 2020, and I conveniently forgot to give it back. Sorry, Sennheiser, you know where I live. Come and find me. They're friends. We're good. Thank you, Sennheiser. I'm playing this with a non-Harley Benton guitar. This is a Heritage guitar, which is not in a Harley Benton price range. Nothing in this setup is in a Harley Benton price range. None of the amps, not the cab. This is literally the cheapest piece of gear in the setup. Well, maybe except for this chicken pick. Which is also pretty damn expensive. So, we're recording with the mic at bypass. It is right now the Tone King Sky King, which is a 40-watt amp. And I need to be very careful with the volume in the room because I don't want to damage my hearing, which is a reason why you need this. So, on bypass. I'm not going to do bypass on the 100-watt Soldano or the 100-watt Red 7 or any of the other amps I'm going to show you. So we're already minus 2 dB down. Let's go back and forth. It was really borderline too loud for my hearing. And now it's absolutely ertragbar, wie man so schön sagt in Deutsch, ne? Das kann man, das ist erträglich, also kommt man mit klar. It is bearable. Bearable. One more thing, it is a resistive load, not a reactive load. What does that mean? Well, it's the not so cool kind of attenuator, but it's the affordable kind of attenuator. So a reactive load means your tube amp still sees something that the tubes can react to, like a cab. A cab isn't dead, it's alive in a way. Let's put it that way. That's how I understand it. And your amplifier sees a cab, and there's something electricity-wise going back and forth, a beautiful interplay of electricity. It's not a dead thing that it's sending to. The tubes need to react to the cab. When you have a reactive load, it is mimicking that interplay between the speaker and the amplifier. A resistive load is not doing that. Now, two places where resistive load makes sense. A, on a budget, right here, because reactive is more expensive to do, parts and shit like that. And also, I just found out today that the earliest attenuators, which is what Van Halen used, they were resistive. So if you have a fully blown plexi and you want that classic brown Van Halen sound, with something behind it like the phaser and all the stuff that Van Halen did, then you might want to go resistive. So it's not just on a budget, it's also for that particular sound. Okay? That volume is totally fine. Now minus 15. It's rather quiet. And And now I can finally dial it in with the fine knob. Now it's almost gone. Now it's completely gone because I turned the load on, and now it's purely a load box. You can run your amp without a speaker. No more dialing it in a little bit like on the previous Harley Benton attenuators. This is cool. Feature-wise, it's definitely there. Does it make your amp quieter? Fuck yeah, it does. Let's pump a couple of different amps into it. We're going to be careful starting at the 15. We're going to go with the Red 7 Duality 100. Why is this now louder than the other one was? Well, simply because that has 100 watts and that other one had 40. The amp is already louder. If I switch bypass off, I'm gonna die. So I'm not gonna do that. That's 100 watt amp. Come on. I think the damn thing works. I mean, if your mom says, dude, no way you're playing that amp at home, you can really get bedroom levels. Let's go to the Soldano. Yeah, Morgan MVP66, a very classic JTM type amp, which is known to be, no master volume and let's crank shit up. That's too loud. Also, this right here is a very good attenuator. If you want to play quietly, you can use this knob. Let's go to a classic This Is Way Too Loud amp, which is the Marshall JCM 800. That is way too loud. That's 100 watts. That's already too loud, so you can get this too. Extremely quiet, so damn thing works fine. Let's go and check out the balanced out. For which, so I can really hear it, I'm going to turn the load on, meaning I won't hear the cab anymore. And here is the balanced out. And that's a problem. It's a problem. Balanced out is way too loud already. I'm in my Apollo, mic input, it's padded already, so meaning the input level has been ducked down, and there's distortion. This is a clean sound. That's pretty horrible. So, as it stands right now, This, as an attenuator, 100% 149, yay to go. As a record directly with it, completely useless with the balanced out. Let's see what happens with a drive sound there. And we're gonna go to the duality again. No idea. Yeah, it's a frequency compensated speaker out. It's not a good one. You'd be much better with an IR loader kind of a thing. And even though that's distorted, it's still distorting on the input. So I'm sorry, Harley Benton, you gotta look at that, because that's simply not working. And I'm usually not someone to trash on a product in a video. I usually say if I have nothing good to say about it, I don't make a video. But I have good stuff to say about it. As an attenuator, this thing freaking nails it. As a XLR out, it doesn't. Now let's see if the line out works. So I have it wired up now with the line cable into the line input of the Apollo. And now we can actually control the level. But we think that the brittling is actually happening inside. Because that's not clean. And it doesn't matter where I set that level. The distortion is there. Now I don't know if that gets better when I turn the load off. Let's see. No, it's still there. So, verdict. The 250 watt power attenuator by Harley Benton is as an attenuator to make your amps quieter, to play at home. Absolutely recommended. You can have very fine adjustments of the volume. You can have a bypass to get your amp with full volume into your speaker. You can turn off your speaker completely. Why would you do that? You would do that to use it as a recording tool, which is where, sadly, it falls short. The clean sound is not clean. I cannot recommend going line out into a cab M or something like this, or into your DAW, because you just have digital distortion happening there. And I cannot imagine, I use these interfaces every day, that it's my interface. It's an Apollo X4. I tried the XLR. I tried the line out. There's something internally pushing that circuit too much. And I'm only running a 40 watt amp into it. If I'm running any of the 100 watters into it, it very clearly is overloading that circuit. So Harley Benton, you need to go back to the drawing board. But it is still 100% recommended as a lower budget attenuator, because attenuating, it does well. And I can't think of anything in the €150 range that I would recommend before I recommend this. That's all I can say. This is very clearly an honest, unbiased review, even though I'm getting paid to do it, which is something some people don't understand. It is fully possible to make those reviews and be honest. I like it. It doesn't fully deliver on the recording side. Would I use something like this as a recording tool? I wouldn't. I would fully use this on stage as an attenuator, or in the living room as an attenuator. No reason to put thousands of euros there. If I use something for recording, I will go to the Captor X, which is $550, to the Amp Central from Red 7, which is $720, to the Aux, which is $1,200. I will go to something else if I want it as a recording tool. As an attenuation tool, for example, the Captor X isn't as good. It only has 3 attenuation levels. I just don't have the fine control I have here. If I wanted to attenuate for at home, I would rather use that than the Captor X. It's just easier to dial in. I wouldn't use the Amp Central from Red 7 because it's not even an attenuator. It's a load box for recording. So different tools for different jobs. If attenuation is what you need, I recommend it. If recording is what you need, this doesn't work. Links below Use them because that helps me. Thank you very much. Thanks, Leslie, for switching. And animals at the end.